This program is brought to you by FreeKeene.com. FreeKeene.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. FreeKeene.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. FreeKeene.com.
Number 5 was the gay movement. It really wasn't that long ago when it was a real social stigma to be gay. And just a few decades ago, it was a real life-destroying decision to come out publicly. These days, things have changed a lot for gay families, and they can be open in who they are with not much repercussion. Now, there's still the army and a bunch of, people that have problems with it, with religion, or older folks still have a hang-up, but most people under 40 don't give a damn if you're gay or not, or how you raise your family, and I think that's a great sign that it's changing. They've made huge strides in this last decade, and even got the government to recognize, for what that's worth, gay marriage.
Number 4, the Ron Paul Revolution. Now, that's kind of where a lot of the people watching this picked up the Liberty Movement, as they first heard the message from Ron Paul. Ron Paul's been a congressman forever, and he's been very consistent about his voting record. Although, no politician's perfect, he's pretty good. And a lot of people came on board hearing his message during the last election. Now, the media pretty much blacked him out, but enough people found out and got fired up that years later, we're still talking about him every day, and I see Ron Paul on TV more than any other Liberty candidate I've ever seen. He's on TV almost every single day now and all over the internet. I think in the next 3 or 4 years, social networking, internet stuff is so powerful, I think it's going to be a completely different story next time around for a good Liberty candidate. So basically, Ron Paul is a gateway or a starting point for people to find out about the Liberty Movement. Number 3, social networking. It just really came into its own a couple of years ago, and even the last election it was kind of still getting started. But the last 2 years, social networking has exploded. Things like, obviously, Facebook, Twitter, and groups where you're catering your own news, you're catering your own friends, and you have your own world, and that takes up a lot of your time. And you can directly show people exactly what you're talking about. Things I'm hearing on Facebook and chatter, I would never ever think I would heard in my entire life. People talking about the Federal Reserve or debating, stuff that they'd never even talked about or heard about just a few years earlier. It's so awesome because it's basically taking the ideas of liberty and making it popular, and it's uncontrollable. It grows exponentially. So social networking is one of the best tools around for liberty. Number 2 is independent media. For so many years, the media had been really regulated by corporations and censored what you got to see and what you didn't. There was only a couple different companies that basically controlled what 95% of the planet saw. So what happened was, because of the rise of the internet, a guy like me can get a $100 camera, post it, and create our own news. And you've been noticing over the last couple of years, people are watching news less and less and less on the major networks, and they're watching more and more and more on the internet and catering their own news. This is a huge win for liberty because you're able to get messages out very quickly without much expense, and you don't have to worry about being censored. So, independent media rocks. I hope there's about 1,000 more of these channels.
Number 1
are some liberty movements, things like the Seasteading Project or the Free State Montana, but mainly the big Mac Daddy of them all, of course, the Free State Project. The Free State Project is the one I want to focus on in New Hampshire because that is the one that seems to be having the most activity. Everything else is kind of very small or still in the building phase, but the Free State Project's actually got feet and it's starting to dig in. What the Free State Project is a group of people, they're trying to get to 20,000, have all agreed to move to one place to basically try to live in liberty in their lifetime. It's a nonviolent movement, and they go there on their own beat of their own drum. So if they like politics, they get in politics. If they like civil disobedience, they get in civil disobedience. If they just want to disappear in the woods somewhere, they go do that. But it's all peaceful. It's not a violent movement. The idea is to get enough liberty people in one place that you can actually make a difference. And it's starting to really work up in New Hampshire.
Number 0.
The popularity and acceptance of civil disobedience. It's actually becoming cool to be a civil disobedient. When things start to cross over into popular culture, when it's cool to see people stand up and say, no, I'm not going to do this, it builds courage. And other people imitate it and say, no, I'm not going to do this. And the snowball in the last 2 or 3 years has really picked up speed. I'm seeing people stand up and say no to government and no to bureaucrats that I would have never thought in my entire life. And it's kind of becoming accepted in the culture. It's right at that crossing point where it's starting to become cool. Once it hits that, man, it's going to be great.
Civil disobedience also includes disobedience with the Federal Reserve dollars, starting alternative currencies, barter systems, and basically using any chance you have to stop feeding the dragon.
Feel free to beat me up in the comments. As always, this is Terran Lupo. Good hunting.
Mark Edge with Free Talk Live. You can see us at freetalklive.com. We're live from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 6 days a week, Monday through Friday. Or you can catch the podcast. It's free at freetalklive.com.